Hello and welcome back to Retrotainment Recast, the show that we bring to you every week. Every week. Almost every week. Mostly every week.
Every week.
Ted, that's on you.
Part of it's on me, part of it's on people not being available and us having to
Fucking sick now. Look, he's not here again.
off
That's
again.
because he lost. Don't forget.
He blew his chance in the triple tray.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, we bring it to you every week. Don't adjust the sets. You haven't missed an episode. I am still the man. This was because of the draw in the triple threat. Now the two boys have to go once more to see who gets the right to face me. That's it. He's got to earn it, lads.
Well, I'm still being shafted because I was due to face you, and then Sherlock decided to make his reappearance. I'm still being shafted here, but
He cashed in his money in the bank.
yeah, just sitting out in the bank.
And still lost.
Out in the bank.
Ted, how are you?
Oh, not too bad. Yeah. We've had a week to go off and do this one. I'd said at the time I wasn't sure if I'd seen this before, and I definitely hadn't when I watched it, or if I did, I completely forgot everything that happens in it. So it was, there's nothing special about the film. It's not incredible, but it's enjoyable. Do you know what I mean? Like it,
It's so this for me was the one or two movies that Mark Wahlberg done that wasn't Mark Wahlberg playing Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, it's one of the few where Mark Wahlberg actually puts in an acting performance where he's not just himself. Do you know what I mean?
King, how are you?
Good, man. Yeah, doing all right. Thank you.
Surviving the draw last week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I thought I was done for. I really did, but like, I'm here.
So did everyone watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, I gave you the task, King. Had you seen Italian Job?
I've seen the original, the Michael Caine
Who
one.
hasn't seen the original one?
So I'd never seen this one. So I actually only recently watched it very, very, very recently before the show. So it's relatively fresh in me head, but it was enjoyable. It was, like what Ted said, it was nothing special, but it was enjoyable enough. Like
there's some cool scenes in it with the
Yeah.
minis on the train and stuff.
Yeah, good. Like
For me, the best description is if the film came on while you were doing something,
you'd watch
you'd leave it on. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
But you wouldn't need to stop what you were doing because you got so engrossed in it. You could
Yeah.
just kind of dip in and out of it and you'd be fine.
And the perfect example of that, Ted, is I was watching it, and Kerry came in about maybe 50. How long is the film? Is it
An hour
An hour and a
25.
bit,
Yeah. So she came in about 40 minutes in or so, but she was glued to the end of it. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
The
Like, she's like,
heist is brilliant.
yeah. She's like, what's that? And I was like, no, that's what we're recasting. And she's like, oh, look, the chasing and I, so she was into it. Like,
Oh, it's got fun
I've got
chase
a new fan.
scenes. Yeah. It's got fun chase scenes. It's got action. It's got what you need in it. Like, it is what it is. It's nothing special. You'd never put it high on your list of recommended films to somebody. But
Yeah.
you know what, as well, there was a relatively solid cast and no one really to dislike, I felt.
Ed Norton, he's such a good bad guy.
Oh, he's brilliant in it.
yeah, I've brought him up a few times for stuff, and everyone's always been like, "No, he's not good at being a bad guy." And I'm like, "You just need to go back and watch
No,
him when he's being a bad guy."
He's just not a nice guy.
Ah,
Even
he's,
though he's actually supposed to be sound, but
yeah, he's such a good bad guy. Like everything I've seen him be the bad guy in, and even when he's not necessarily the bad guy, he's just so good at everything he does. It's unbelievable.
like American History X.
Oh, well, he is the bad guy in that, but I was more thinking the likes of things like Fight Club and stuff, where he's not exactly the bad guy in Fight Club. Do you know what I mean?
He was very good in Rounders as well.
Yeah, he doesn't have many dud films to his name that I can think of the top of my head.
Hulk.
Yeah, but Hulk was terrible, but overall I don't think he has many like that come to my head anyway.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a few stinkers in there, but we're not.
There's definitely going to be a couple of bad ones, but I think overall he's been quite good in things that he does.
You have the great Donald Sutherland in here as well.
So-
Young Jason Statham.
Yeah,
Good lineup. Like,
Yeah. I've got Seth Green's in there. Charlize Theron. This was a couple of years just before she won the Oscar.
yeah. I kind of looked this up because I was like, well, how big was she in 2003? Because she didn't really explode onto the scene until a little bit after this.
This one kind of kicked her on, and then she went on to do Monster.
Yeah,
That's
she-
when she really.
That's what I mean. She had a lot of stuff like acting credits to her name, but a lot of it was like TV shows and stuff like that. This was kind of the thing that let her step up and show everyone that she could really take center stage, and she's been doing it since.
And then you look at, but like when you go and watch this to watching her in Monster, it's like a whole different person. And I know it's a sign of a great actress, but she doesn't even look like that in Monster.
She looks exactly like your woman Aileen Wuornos, and it's everyone saying that.
It's terrifying.
It's brilliant. And funny enough, that was only on Film 4 the other night when I was in work. I was watching it.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, amazing.
And like if you look at it, it was like you see that, and then you see what they done for Colin Farrell in the new Batman. He was virtually unrecognizable, the same way she was.
Yeah.
But like lads, you know the drill. Send the photos in, and we'll give you the usual spiel. I went over the rules in the dressing room, lads. I want a nice clean fight. Watch your rabbit punches. Watch your kidney punches. In the words of the great Mills Lane, let's get it on.
Put one in there.
Sent in there now.
I'm sure I have both. Yep, I have both just to verify if there is a draw. I do have a list from Sick Note. And boys, you'd want to be fucking lucky because me and Sick Note matched on 4.
Oh Jesus.
Jesus, that's a lot. Now that's
me and Sherlock very rarely match on anything.
That's
true. But
true.
even when people match, it tends to be 2, maybe 3. It's very rare.
Forza Force, isn't it?
That was a game over. That was a game over. Before the start.
I don't know that I'll match you guys. I like my picks, but I'd be surprised if I match too many people with them.
Yeah.
And I kind of went safe with this, in terms of picking. Just because I wasn't overly like if it was something like a Predator, I'd know the characters inside out. Whereas, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
You weren't part of the show when we done Predator.
No. But we'll see what happens.
Smashed lads doing Predator, I did. It was me versus Sherlock. I put him to the fucking.
That was the 4. That was 3 draws all the way through at the end, wasn't
it? I think so.
Oh no, sorry, no, it wasn't. It wasn't the 3 draws. That was when I had Jason Momoa, and I thought that's a perfect.
Yeah,
pick,
we all had
that.
That was the first time we'd all matched up on somebody, and we all had Momoa. Yeah. That was very early on in the show, though, so it's happened a lot since.
Week 4, week 5, something like that.
Yeah.
What a movie, lads! What a movie! But that's for a different time, different show. This one's the Italian Job. Pictures are in, lads. 7 to go. First to 4 usually wins it.
Yeah.
Sherlock wins.
Well, we'll see.
Right. Champ is me. So I'm gonna give the king the chance to start this one off.
Okay.
Who are we going with? Give him some slight advantage.
Yeah, right.
We're gonna go with the smallest person in here. We gotta go with John here.
Yeah, probably biggest.
There, is it?
No, probably John is the dad. Probably biggest name, but dies very early on in the film.
Donald Sutherland. What a role for him. Just randomly placed again.
But it was good though.
It's very similar to some of the other ones that we brought up over the years. Christopher Walken in Wedding Crashers.
Yeah.
Just a random role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did it well though.
He did. So I didn't have backups. I didn't do any backups for this. The only one I had backups for was the left there, but I didn't include them in my list today. I went with someone who is the same age as Sutherland was in this film. And I know it's not exactly a very big part, but it's an important part nonetheless to the story. So I went with Bryan Cranston. And I did actually go, and that's why we were having a bit of a discussion earlier today, and I was like, no.
He said he is going to be hanging up the boots soon.
Yeah, 2026 or something like that.
So I read one of the things that you sent in saying that he was retired in 2026 when he sells his company. The other one says he's on temporary retirement till 2026.
Right. Okay.
But again, that only came in today, so we'll.
Yeah, I mean it's too late to be making a change that late in the day.
Consider that only went into the group chat 45 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So I think he's got him. He'll take kind of weird little roles here and there, like so. And powerful ones. Yeah. There you go.
Good
he
show.
was he was someone I had as a backup. I kind of have a few backups for nearly every role here. And I said into the group chat that I was thinking about taking a risk with 2 of these characters, but the problem is that if you take the risk, so I'll tell you now, it was obviously going to be John and Stella. If you take the risk with one, I find it tends to blindside a judge, because if they go with my risk, it kind of nearly gives me the next point straight off the bat, and I feel that's a little bit unfair to be doing sometimes. But then it also can go the other way. If it goes against me, then I'm completely fucked as well.
You're talking about race bending here, were you?
Yeah, so one that I was thinking was Giancarlo Esposito. I think he'd do that role quite well. You know, you could believe him as the bad guy. The problem is, even though he's around that age, his stock is currently on the rise. You know, so I don't know if he'd take such a small role now. I had a few others there. John C. McGinley is one. I think he could do that quite well.
Yeah.
As I said, I had Bryan Cranston at one point, but I feel I've fallen to use Bryan Cranston a lot at times there. I went with another big name, and one that you wouldn't have expected, because at the time you wouldn't have expected Donald Sutherland. He would have been one of the main names on this poster, do you know what I mean? And then you wouldn't have expected him to go off that quickly. So I went with Ed Harris. He's a little bit older than Sutherland was here, but he's not that much older.
Okay.
I do like Ed Harris now.
Yeah, I think he can fit in there, and you know, he's at that stage in his career where a small role isn't going to hurt him.
I don't
you know,
think he ever had a stage in his career where he wouldn't take a small role. Do you know, kind of way, same as Cranston did. Just kind of picked and choose what he wanted to do, or if he was making a big film and he had time, he'd take small roles in other ones.
Yeah.
And we've seen that before. This is the first match that me and Sherlock had. We both had J.K. Simmons here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can see J.K. Simmons there.
He's starting to re-rise now.
Yeah, I can see J.K. Simmons there.
Yeah.
I think he goes in as a mastermind henchman that was in prison, or mastermind heist man.
Yeah.
Who's been in prison for a long time.
Again, he
especially because he is jacked now.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, Donald Sutherland isn't jacked or anything in this.
No,
you know.
But like, yeah, he obviously you've got nothing to do in prison bar.
Lift weights.
Yeah, I guess, but I'd probably use the same argument for J.K. Simmons as I would have used against Giancarlo myself. Which is why I didn't go with Giancarlo, because their stock is on the rise. So is he going to take something so small now when when he's probably at near the pinnacle of his career in terms of fame? Yeah.
Yeah, especially now getting into that movie with The Rock coming up.
Yeah.
So,
And as I said, I honestly think, Cranston, like you said, he doesn't care. He'll pick whatever he wants to play.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I was thinking with Ed Harris as well. As Greg said, he always just picked his roles. Oh, I'm doing a big film, but sure, I have 2 weeks off. I'll go and film the 10 scenes I need to do for that and get on my way, you know?
Get me money and go.
Yeah. I just kind of went for name value. I think like that's kind of what put me off.
That's what
Cranston.
they did in the.
That's what they done in this.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what put me off Cranston. I was like, Cranston was really big for quite a short time. Like Breaking Bad is when he was huge. Do you know what I mean? Now,
I mean, if you were doing it though, in as we said, in this day and age, you still have that name value from that though. I feel
to an extent, I think he's kind of dropped off a bit because he hasn't done too much in the recent years.
Which means, as you say, it wouldn't affect him if he was in a small role.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't. Know? Yeah, that's. I'm just saying that's why I decided not to go with him, and I went with Ed Harris, who I think just has that little bit bigger of a name.
We've seen Cranston do it, obviously, in Godzilla.
Oh yeah, like, and that's when he was at the height. Like he'd just come off Breaking Bad, you know.
That's a tough one, actually. I thought when I heard Cranston, I was like, him and Han, about what could actually get near him. Ed Harris is a great show. I had thought about putting Will Patton in as well. I just don't think he commands enough.
Did he say he's hanging up the boots though?
Did he? I hadn't seen that.
I think we discussed that a while ago, that he'd said that he might be finishing up, that he's just finishing whatever he's recording at the moment. but
Oh.
that's always
I think,
subject to change.
yeah, I think you said, I remember something like that.
But again, that's always subject to change. With an actor, they can just decide that they're actually not done anymore, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tough one. Tough one. I think I'm gonna go with Ed Harris on this one. I think he just has a bit more presence still
Yeah.
than Cranston does. Not that Sutherland does much in this really, but
No, but it's just his name value on the
Yeah.
on the
well, even the name value probably goes more Cranston's way. I think Harris is a better actor. Like probably overall he's probably still a better actor.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna go with Ed here.
Would, if I'd gone with Giancarlo, would you have
Oh, it
gone
would
with
have been
him?
hands down,
Yeah.
yeah.
See, that's the one I wanted to go with. That was the one I had pretty much first on my list, and I kind of backed out of it because,
see-
as I said, it can either screw me or completely could screw King, and I don't like putting a judge in that position either.
Now, what I would say is I would have looked at it in a way that I picked him fine, but I still would have judged the
Yeah, but I
Stella,
just
his
find
name.
I know that's what we always say we'll do, but I've found when we've done that in the past, it has kind of boiled down to a,
Yeah,
you know,
I
well,
what
that
you mean.
doesn't work here, and I feel that it's unfair to put the judge under that strain and to put the opponent under the strain of.
Theoretically, even if you pick Giancarlo, the daughter could be white still.
She could, but it's you know,
I know what you mean though. Yeah.
if I go someone who's darker, I have a slight, I can use that as an argument. Do you know what I mean? And I feel that's unfair. Now, as I said, it could work in my favor and it could work against me, but I just feel it's a difficult one for the judge to get past when you do something like that.
Yeah. They were two good picks there though, lads.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like this the whole way through, to be honest.
Maybe,
Right,
yeah.
lads. I'd say left ear has to be the one now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
He's the quietest of the group.
Smallest
Probably
name.
Smallest name too, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Ted.
This is the one I probably struggled with the most to actually get, and like any name, to be honest. Like the other ones I struggled with, will I pick this person or will I pick that person? This is the one I struggled to actually find anyone to put in. So what I settled on was, again, as I said, the smallest role. And to me, this is somebody who's got a bit of an acting career behind them, but this is kind of their step up and it's their chance to work with some big name actors and to get their name out there. So I went with someone whose star's kind of on the rise here, or looks to be coming on the rise. So as a backup, I had Tony Revolori from Spider-Man.
Lovell Tony.
Yeah, but I went with someone else who I think now I haven't seen him in too much else. I've only seen him in 2 films, but I think he's been highly prominent in both of them when they're giving the names. I went with Mason Gooding, who's the young lad from the Screams. They highly feature him when they're putting the names of the cast up. He's like the second or third one.
He seems to be a big name in the States, all right.
Yeah, he seems to be building that name, and I was like, this is the chance for him to get in there with, obviously using my list, the likes of an Ed Harris, but then, from back then you had your Mark Wahlbergs, your Charlize Therons, who had bits of name power to them. This is his chance to get in there with them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not a bad shout actually.
Yeah,
I never even thought it's a first time use, I think, for him as well.
I think so. Yeah, he's quite he's young enough, and he's only starting to make his name. So,
King, what you got?
I went for someone again around the same age. He's big-ish, I think. John Boyega, I went with.
Yeah, he's got a pretty big name. He's got he was in Star Wars and stuff, so he's a pretty big name, all right.
Right, this was match number 2 for me and Sherlock.
Oh Jesus!
We had Tyler James Williams here, who was Chris from Everybody Hates Chris.
He was one of my backups.
I think I've used him before in a couple of other
He's
things.
never got in, I don't think, though.
No, I think he's just always been kind of one I was never overly sold on. But yeah, I could see him.
I was actually quite happy with this one.
Yeah, I could see him. Again, I haven't seen him in much other than Everybody Hates Chris, and obviously he's a child in that.
he does one of those shows that's how he watches. He plays. I think he's like a tech guy for the FBI or something. And that's how that's that. As I said a few times, anytime his name pops up, that's how I know he's still acting.
Yeah.
Mm.
Again, as I said, I can't say I've seen him in anything since Everybody Hates Chris. But you know, he was a good actor in that, and he was a child, so
Yeah, and he got to work with the immortal Terry Crews.
yeah. Still, one of my favorite scenes ever is when he's, you know, who's that? That's my dad, and it's like, you know, when you in the shower, I'm gonna get you. In your dreams, I'm gonna get you. And it's just Terry Crews popping up all the time with the baseball bat.
Oh yeah.
And Terry when he was so cheap.
Oh, I love Terry Crews. He's so good. Like,
Right. I do like Gooden until I seen him in well, I wasn't even that I seen him in. He was at the start of that Fall movie. He plays the boyfriend in that for about 8 seconds.
again, haven't seen him in anything outside of Scream.
Can you imagine what happens to him in that movie?
I assume he falls.
He does.
Trips.
But it turns out he was no, I'm not even gonna spoil it.
No.
It was just an alright movie. I think I'm gonna give it to John Boyega here though. I think I like that pick a bit better.
Yeah.
I haven't seen, obviously we've seen him in Scream where he should have had the worst death ever.
Yeah.
And he's still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, spoiler alert.
He's getting-
Sorry.
getting stabbed 52 times and still smiling at them to run.
Yeah.
Look out at that boy.
Now, as I said, I was this is the one I struggled with the most, and I just was like, right, I'm just going to take someone who doesn't have a name value yet, and this is their chance to bolster themselves up. Like, so I didn't want to go with anyone big here because it's such a minor role. Like, you'd nearly forget he's in the film half the time.
I think the one big moment when they're hanging out of the thing is like, I'm inserting this into the plutonium pin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If this touches the side, you're the last person we're ever gonna see.
All right, take a minute.
Take your time.
Yeah, you know, he's such a small role. I was like, I don't want to use anyone too big here. I just want to use someone who's building up their name. If this is a chance for them to show what they've got with a big cast and crew, like.
Right, lads. It's probably got to be Napster next, and
Lyle.
then yeah,
Lyle Crocodile.
which was Seth Green. I'd imagine it'd have to be this, and then it'll be probably Handsome Rob, and then
Yeah.
we'll go from there.
Yeah, the others are the mains. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Napster or Lyle, as he's known at the start of this movie. Remember, it's so funny in this movie where he's just like, I don't want to be called Lyle anymore. You've got to call me the Napster.
The
Call
Napster.
me, call me Napster. That's not even what he was going to call it. It was just because I was napping.
Yeah. He'll never beat the Napster. What was it on the screens?
Yeah. This is the real Napster.
And the one thing that he wants to buy with the gold bricks, a stereo so loud that he blows women's clothes off. You
Was that-
pervert.
Was that Kelly Brook in that? Was it?
I don't know.
As the
I don't know. It was a very short scene, so I
it was
can't
very
remember.
short. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Couldn't tell you. Could have been. I couldn't
King's
tell you.
paused it about 50 times. Going, "Did he?"
Oh.
Right, lads. Seth Green, King. What you got?
Okay. Now I'm thinking I overshot my guess here because
Oh, the excuses have started.
no. I still think he could do the job, but I think he might be just a little bit too old. But he still looks young. I remember Andrew Garfield might be a bit too big. But I still think I could see little nuances that Seth Green was doing that I could see Garfield doing well, you know, that kind of boyish thing that he had with Spider-Man, you know.
I mean, I know where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ted, what you got?
So the first name I thought of here was Jonah Hill, but Jonah Hill is a bit too big a name now, and he's also pushing into his 40s.
You'd have lost the point on that.
Oh, well, that's what I mean.
That at all.
Well, I think he fits if you think about him from back when he was in Superbad, the whole, oh, somebody stole it from me. They stole it from me. He fits that sort of profile. Do you know what I mean? Like a bit of a jokester, like a bit of the joke, like, oh, the bike fell over on him and all that, you know, like he bought him up
20 years old.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like that was the first time that came to my head because I was like, that kind of works. You know, that style of character works.
Mm.
Another one was Nicholas Holt, but I think he's too big a name to take this. Like I know,
it was a backup of mine.
I know Seth Green had a bit of a name at the time, but he was never a huge star like the likes of Nicholas Hoult and stuff are.
I think he came off. I think he'd come off Buffy at the time, hadn't he?
Yeah, but again, even in Buffy, he wasn't a huge. Like I know in the first kind of couple of series, maybe he was a little bit of a bigger name, but he disappears for quite a lot of the series. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I went with, again, it's a relatively small role. So I went with someone who has a bit of a name, but isn't a huge name. I went with Christopher Mintz-Plasse, who was McLovin, as we all know. He's 2 or 3 years, he's, I think, 4 years older than Seth Green was in this time. So I was kind of thinking, little bit
was Seth Green in this 33 or something, wasn't he?
29, and then
29, yeah.
Mintz-Plasse is 33 now. So I was kind of thinking, got kind of that scrawny build, so he can't lift the bike up on him, like pick the bike up after he drops it because he's such a idiot that he can't drive his bike. Rob has to help him, and then I'm really good with the girls. But he's like just super awkward around any sort of woman, which is exactly the role he obviously isn't super bad and stuff like that, but also in role models, which is a little bit more. Yeah, like he kind of fits that type of character quite well. And he's just not that huge a name that I think he could fit in here without stealing any limelight.
Yeah. Green just kind of went under the radar in this.
Yeah, which he did in a lot of films, to be honest.
Yeah. Idle Hands is probably his big one where he
yeah, and I like Seth Green. Like anything I've seen him in, I've quite liked him in. It's just he does tend to slip to the side a lot. Did you and Sherlock match again?
And Sherlock matched on this one, yeah.
Fucking hell, who did you have here?
This was one of the first names I put down for this after rewatching it. We had Freddie Highmore, who was the good doctor. He plays the autistic doctor.
Oh yeah.
Now there's the definition of a scrawny, out of place.
Can't say I know him at all.
Yeah.
Haven't seen The Good Doctor. Didn't watch the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory that he was in. Can't say I know him at all.
Jeez, he was in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Yeah, no, he's a good actor. He's a very good actor.
Can't say I know him. Haven't seen him in anything. So.
Yeah. I thought I was nailed on with that one, and then Sherlock sent me the list, and I was like, oh, well. Right. Ted, you put up a good argument for that one. You're gonna nick the point on that one. I think you're a little bit closer to
the style of character he is.
The style, yeah. Garfield is awkward.
He's a different type of awkward, though, isn't he?
And he's a lot bigger as well. Like he'd be out of place sitting on a laptop in
the airport.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I wasn't overly.
Mintz-Plasse was a good one though.
Yeah. Wasn't overly happy with my choice, but sure, look, it is what.
Sometimes that's what happens. You just kind of get stuck, and you're like, right, well, I'll just go with this.
Yeah.
Wing it and see. Right,
who's
lads,
it next? Rob, is it?
It has to be Handsome Rob now, doesn't it?
Yeah. This is the one that I think was a strange casting originally. Yeah, like I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I wouldn't have. If you're gonna cast a character as Handsome Rob, like that's gonna be his name. State him the first name that would come to your head as the handsome guy.
Maybe that's the irony of the name. Maybe.
To be fair, he is.
It's not that he's.
Man.
No, he's a good-looking guy, but I'm just wondering, when you were thinking of it, would you have been like, yeah, that's the first name? And it's not it's not an ironic name because they allude to the fact that he's
a ladies' man. Yeah.
Yeah, he's all like they need to get the keys to the van and the shirt that he just goes over and talks to her for like 5 seconds and he's already got her. You know what I mean?
I'm just looking up here, lads. The director, Gary Gray, to see if he'd worked with him beforehand.
Right.
Just might have came. The closest person he has that he worked with in 2003 was Vin Diesel. So maybe they hired Vin Diesel lookalike.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Like, as I said, it's just, if you're like, and this is kind of like what I went to. I was like, right, they're going to call him Handsome Rob. So you want a guy who's a bit of a charmer because he's meant to be able to just charm his way into anything. And then obviously, they say the part of like he took the car to drive it as far as he could, and like all these women just absolutely loved him and stuff. So I like that's kind of what I went with. I went a little bit older here and probably a bit bigger of a name now than he was at the time, and Statham might have been at the time. I can't really remember how big his name was. I went with Sebastian Stan. You know, he's a favorite on this show, but he fits that role quite well, especially when you think of
Fit any role.
yeah. But when you think of him in like Fresh and stuff, you know, like that's kind of what he is. You know, he's that charmer who can just convince people to like do whatever he wants, basically. You know.
Yeah, that's a good pick. It's a really good pick.
Yeah.
King, what you got?
The guy I went with is a couple of years younger than Statham was. He's actually English as well, and I think he plays that kind of good-looking guy thing. You know, like I went with Taron Egerton.
Okay. It's another good show.
Now, obviously, the correct choice here is Paul Rudd, because Paul Rudd's so hot right now, but he's just a little bit too old to go in there, you know.
And it wouldn't. His name wouldn't be Handsome Rob. It'd be Handsome Rudd.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, it'd be hot because he's so hot right now, you know, rather than handsome.
So Handsome Rob, both me and Sherlock had an Alex here, but it wasn't the same one.
Oh, sure.
So Sherlock had Alex Ludwig.
Okay.
Alexander Ludwig.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I had Alex Skarsgård. And
yeah.
he more so fits the Handsome Rob bit than.
Just the problem with Alex Skarsgård is maybe age a little bit. Now I know they don't necessarily say what age.
The ages in this are a bit random because Charlie's been in prison with John.
Yeah, but you could go into prison at 18.
At any, yeah.
No, that's what I mean. But like, yeah, it's just a lot of them have spent time. Like, Handsome Rob has drove across country and got arrested, so he's most likely have got to spend a few years in prison.
Yeah, so but like that'd be the only thing is that you know, Skarsgård's in his mid 40s, whereas at the time Thing was in his mid 30s.
Yeah.
It's only a 10-year difference. Do you know what I mean? It's not a huge difference, but
there's generally nothing about the ages for them in this.
Yeah, they don't. You know, the only two that you kind of need to stay the same are probably Stella and Charlie. Really, because they kind of mentioned that, you know, you got to grow up with them while I didn't. Like they kind of reference the fact that they're kind of the same age.
Yeah, and then obviously John, you can't have John being 27 or 28.
Yeah, John needs to be that little bit older because he's meant to be the master that's been at it for years. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go with Stan here. I like Eglinton. I just don't see him. Like even when he was in Kingsman, it was kind of the awkward thing until the end of it, where Rob comes in and he's full on. I'm awesome. I'm this. I'm that. That kind of way. And Sebastian Stan just kind of does that. Like look at him as Tommy Lee.
Yeah, and in Fresh, like that's his character straight up in Fresh. That's the one, to be honest, that I thought when you said you and Sherlock had matched on 4, I thought that was going to be one. Because that's one I thought we were all going to match on, to be honest. I thought we'd all have just gone Sebastian Stan there.
No, it didn't actually even come to my mind.
Yeah. I thought that was when you said you just matched on 4, I assumed that was going to be one of them. And I assumed we would all match on that one.
Right, lads. So it's 3-1. King, you need them all.
Yeah, which probably won't happen, but okay.
I'm just thinking, lads, what do we do if it's a draw? Is it another rematch?
No, well, yeah,
we both. If it's a draw, how about this? We both challenge it.
That's fair, yeah. That's fair.
Fair enough.
It won't be a draw, though, so don't worry.
And I'll boot the 2 years out of it.
Yeah.
Right, lads. It's got to be Stella here, and we keep Steve, or do you want to go Steve and then do the couple at the end?
I say Stella.
No, well, they're not a couple either. You know,
only at the very, very, very end. They are, yeah.
Sort of like that, like, you know.
No, they are. There's a good scene where he says, "I found the person I want to spend the rest of my life with."
They're cuddled up on a boat.
No, I know that, yeah, but it's like it's about 2 seconds of the film, you know?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like at the end, they become a couple.
Yeah,
Right. We'll go with Stella here then.
I think you need to.
This is mine and Sherlock's last match.
I definitely won't match anybody here, I don't think, on this one.
So what have we got? It is up to the king.
Okay, I went with on look and what I thought looks were similar, and both are good actors. I went with Margot Robbie.
Yeah. Ted, did you pick a female?
Yeah.
You're going to win the point here.
Yeah, I think
She won't do any of those semi-topless scenes or anything anymore.
I think it's more so that I think Margot Robbie is bigger than this role now. I think
Who'd you
if
pick?
well, I'll just give who I pick. I went with Emma Roberts here. I think she has.
Oh,
Yeah, I think Emma Roberts fits in there. She's not a huge name. Again, as I said, Charlize Theron wasn't a huge name at this time. A lot of her work had come from TV work at that point, which is a lot of Emma Roberts' work, although she has had, Scream and stuff where she was able to play both kind of
good and bad.
Yeah, like, she was a nice kind of timid girl at points, but then she was more than capable of holding her own when she actually needed to and things like that. And then obviously, her name, although she's not a huge name, her name does have a bit of a pull there because of her relations, you know what I mean? Which will only help.
Her auntie, isn't it?
Yeah, which alone, you're still going to try and use relatively big names here. Do you know what I mean? And it's not like she hasn't got a couple of films and a huge amount of TV work behind her. Like,
I'm just thinking there. I always refer to it as her auntie, right?
I think it is her auntie. Yeah.
It is her auntie, yeah. But I keep forgetting that her dad is an actor as well. Her dad's Eric Roberts.
Yeah, but none of. Well, I suppose Eric Roberts does have a bit of a name, not as much as her aunt.
The best and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely not as much as her aunt. But as I said, like, this is somebody in Charlize Theron who kind of stepped up from her TV acting and shows and stuff like that, and that's what Emma Roberts is really doing at the moment. Like, that's where her big name is.
She done that Scream show, didn't she? Scream Queens, or
yeah, she didn't Scream Queens, then American Horror Story. She's been doing.
She was in that, was she?
I think she was one of the leads in that. She was in it for like 6 years or something.
Oh.
You know what I mean? She has, and she's done a few Hollywood films and stuff as well, which is kind of what I was thinking. Small bit of a name in Hollywood, but, on the up and up because of all the TV work they're doing, which is what Charlize Theron was at here.
Yeah, I see that. Both, as I said, both me and Sherlock matched on this one with Florence Pugh. Florence
Pugh was someone I had as a backup, yeah.
Same.
I think she's perfect for her.
Yeah, I'll tell you that I had Zendaya as if I'd gone with Giancarlo. Yeah. Capable of looking after herself when she needs to, like.
I'd have given it to Margot Robbie over Zendaya. I think she's just too young to be that good of a safe cracker.
Yeah, maybe.
Zendaya's only 25 or 26.
Yeah, but I mean, Thing was only 28.
Yeah, but he doesn't look 28. He's not playing a 28-year-old, isn't he?
No, Charlize Theron.
Oh.
She was only 20. She was only 28. That's what I'm saying. Like, Zendaya's not that much younger.
Oh. I just looked. She looked older. She looked like she was mid-30s to me.
Yeah, maybe. But that's kind of like. I guess part of that is maybe why I didn't go with Giancarlo. But yeah.
So do you think Margot Robbie wouldn't be a good part for that? Do you? Even regardless of whether she said she'd do the top or the semi-topless or whatever.
So the movie's not. It's not even the name. The movie isn't about Stella, really. Charlize Theron doesn't steal any scene she's in, bar that one where she's sitting in her bra, and that's because she's sitting in her bra.
Okay.
I think Margot is just, she captures the screen kind of glistens towards her when she's in it, even if she's not the main focus of it.
Yeah, I think if you were going to use her, what you would do is you'd change Charlie to a female and put her there if she was going to be in it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, probably. So we're 4-1.
Game over.
It is,
Sure
but
is.
now
Let's
it's down
get some
to
respectability on it.
can it be a respectable defeat, or is it going to be a thrashing? Is now what's down to.
Down to 2, lads. As we spoke about earlier, Ed Norton's bad guy. It's quality.
Yeah, brilliant.
Quality. Ted, where are you starting?
So as a backup, I had Alfie Allen, who I think can do that quite well, but name value isn't there in comparison to what Norton would have been.
No.
Now the other person I picked has more name value than Alfie Allen, but maybe not as much as Norton did. But he's a favourite of mine for roles like this in Ben Barnes. I just think he fits. I think he just fits this sort of role so well, where he looks like he's, yeah, I'm witches, and then just turns on you at the last kind of second, and it's a bit of a shock when he turns on you. Yeah.
King, what do you got?
Paul Dano.
Okay. I like Paul Dano.
Now I assume that was the last of you and Sherlock matching, wasn't it?
Stella was.
Stella
Yeah.
was, yeah. Okay, so you'll both have different here.
Yeah. So Sherlock has Miles Teller here.
Yeah, I could see Miles Teller there. Yeah.
He has a very punchable face. To be fair, this is what me and Sherlock were saying off screen. Ed Norton has a very punchable face.
Yeah.
I had Zac Efron.
Was it the only one I was thinking of?
Zac Efron, maybe.
He's a very cocky, out there, very punchable face.
Yeah, I think it's size-wise is his issue now, just because of how much he's packed on for the Kerry Von Erich. That'd be my only thing against having someone like him there. Like, it's going to, if he decides to slim back down, which I think he will, because I don't think he'll decide to stay that size. It's going to take him a while to slim back down healthily. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like as I says, that's where I went. I think he'd be perfect. I think his attitude, his ego.
I think everything bar the fact that he's just huge at the moment, like physically huge, would be the only thing against Efron at the moment, I think.
Yeah. I do like Paul Dano for that one, so I'm gonna go 4-2 here.
Okay.
I think Dano's performance in Batman kind of stuck him out as a very good bad guy.
Yeah.
He's a very good creepy bad guy is more what I would think with him, whereas Steve isn't creepy. Do you know what I mean?
He's slimy and creepy, yeah.
He's slimy, but he's not creepy.
But then again, if you see, I know it's 20 years ago, but when Paul Dano he played Klitz in Girl Next Door. He was that kind of
maybe
charming his way into everything. Yeah, I think that was a good show. Dano doesn't get used quite enough on this show. I don't think he's really facilitated himself as a good actor.
I think he's a very good actor. I think he's a little bit typecast. I think he's a little bit typecast at the moment, so it has to be a very specific role for him, sort of thing.
Yeah. Poor Ben Barnes still can't get a point.
Yeah, whenever I use him, I lose. I think he fits in very well every time I use him, but every time I seem to lose the point with him. So,
right, and this is the one that me and Sherlock completely disagreed on.
Okay.
So on Charlie, obviously. Who's it? It's
King.
You're the man here, King. 4-3 or 5-2, which is it?
It's probably going to be 5-2. I don't mind. I went with Liam Hemsworth.
Okay. Become quite a favorite on the show as of late.
He has. His stock is starting to rise. He's stepping out of his brother's shadow a little bit now.
And Ted, what do you got?
I went back and forth on two people here, Jack Quaid and Dylan O'Brien. And I settled on what? I settled on Dylan O'Brien. I think Dylan O'Brien plays a little bit more of a confident character than Jack Quaid does. Jack Quaid tends to play a bit more of a timidity character, which isn't Charlie. Charlie's very self-confident in himself. And I just think Dylan O'Brien plays that a little bit better than Jack Quaid does. Now, don't get me wrong. I think like Jack Quaid could do it. He's a fantastic actor. You know, I mean, like he could definitely do it.
Anything.
Yeah, but I just think at the moment Jack Quaid is playing more of the kind of timidity characters rather than a very self-confident one. Whereas Dylan O'Brien, I think, is just closer to the more self-confident guy at the moment.
Okay, I did like Dylan O'Brien when he was in Teen Wolf and stuff.
Yeah.
I had 3 names down here. I had Dacre as the second backup. I had Liam Hemsworth as a backup. And then I settled on Taron Egerton. That's where I think he fits in.
Yeah.
More so than Handsome Rob.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the only problem with Dacre maybe would be
his age.
Name value, I would have said. Like, this is your main character as well. I don't I love Dacre and everything, but I don't know that he has that name value that Wahlberg even had at that time, you know?
Not yet, no.
Yeah, I did like Hemsworth. I thought it was going to be tough to settle off him actually for a while. But I'll give you one guess who Sherlock went with. And as I says, I disagreed fully on this one. And someone who's used before.
Zendaya.
It was Zendaya.
It was not.
No, it wasn't. No. Not far off it though.
Holland, was it?
Yeah.
Now,
Tom Holland.
Right. Don't get me wrong. I can see exactly where Sherlock is coming from because
I can see where he's coming from.
The truth is that if Hollywood were to make this film right now, they are picking Tom Holland. Whether we like it or not, that's who's getting picked there. And this was an argument.
They've just kind of done it with Uncharted.
Uncharted, exactly. They took him and they put him into a role that didn't exactly fit him.
No.
And I said this before when we were doing Point Blank. I said, listen, I don't think he's the best for the role, but like this is who would get cast. You know, and I used that argument then, but I do think like we should try not to use that because the truth is he would be the one that was used here. Do you know what I mean? But if we just go with what Hollywood would do, it would have been Tom Holland, and then yeah, probably like, you know, probably would have been Tom Holland and Zendaya. Do you know what I mean? Like they would have just gone, all right, these are the current big names. They wouldn't have taken the risk on anyone the way they did with the likes of Charlize Theron and Seth Green and stuff. Do you know what I mean?
I am going to go with Hemsworth here. I think he fits more that role than Dylan O'Brien does. I do love Dylan O'Brien as an actor though. I think from the first season of Teen Wolf till now, his acting has come on.
I think he's very good, and he's been the star of a couple of films now at this point as well.
Maze Runner and stuff.
Yeah, like that was its own trilogy, and he was the star of that. Do you know what I mean? Like, so his name he's good. Like,
he's good actually, yeah.
He's just not that big. Like I know Wahlberg's big now, but he wasn't huge back then or anything either. Do you know what I mean? He was still kind of a smaller lad. Like,
love Wahlberg though.
Yeah, I like him. Yeah.
It was around this time when he started turning to religion and stuff, wasn't it?
I don't know when he started doing all that.
For sure. Where are we going next week, King?
Congratulations, Ted, first of all.
I get my rightful challenge against him, the one I was owed before Sickno spun his way back in.
And got tossed over the top rope in 3 seconds. Just
went back out sick again, yeah. Back out sick again, he is.
Santino, Sickno, Sherlock.
So I'm going to go with a film I love. And it's, of course, I won't be able to recast, but I will be recasting anyway.
You'll be the judge.
Yeah, so that's a good thing. I'm actually delighted with. I'm going to go with Commando. Little Arnold.
Ooh, I do like recasting action films.
You're good at it, apparently.
I am. That's what the record shows. Action films are where I tend to do quite well.
Cut the champion on the ropes. Oh.
Yeah, well, action films are they can be quite difficult to recast as well because it just comes down to who you think fits a certain action role over anybody else.
Are we putting the same stipulation we did for the last Arnie movie in where we don't use The Rock?
Yeah, I think so.
So remember we didn't use it for Predator, but then we done one with Arnie in it and we said we're not using The Rock.
Yeah,
because it was just too easy. I can't remember what movie it was.
we did do it. I don't think I'd use The Rock for this one.
I don't think I would
Anyway.
myself.
But yeah, I'm happy to put,
let's make a gentleman's agreement here between the two of us now.
yeah, I'm happy
No.
to not put him in, yeah.
Oh, Rock.
Like,
Okay.
to be honest with you, the only thing you'd really put him in for is that scene at the start when he's picking up the tree.
Can we also make a gentleman's agreement that you can't pick Danny DeVito?
That you
Why
can.
not?
That you can't pick Danny DeVito
Why would you pick Danny DeVito?
because he's a beast, mate.
I could see him picking up that log, no problem. Yeah.
Imagine,
Oh, sorry for that. Or for Matrix. I thought you meant for David Patrick Kelly.
no, yeah, for the main man. Imagine Danny DeVito holding you over a cliff and delivering those one-liners. Yeah.
Remember I told you I'd kill you last. You did, yeah. I lied.
Imagine that, and then him throwing the big pipe at somebody. You need to let off some
Hey,
steam.
Let off some steam, Bennett.
Imagine Danny DeVito doing all that. I think it's a gentleman's agreement that you can't put DeVito in there.
That's fair.
I'm okay
That's
with that.
fair.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I watched just before we go. I watched Arnie's 100 greatest one-liners after the kills. The other
Brilliant.
night.
Oh, jeez, so good.
Brilliant.
So good. The amount of them is just thing. But Bennett's one is one of the best.
Oh, this film has some of his best, to be honest.
Brilliant.
Now he has great ones everywhere, but this is one of the best. This is one of his best one-liners.
What's the other one? I eat green berets for breakfast, and right now I'm quite hungry.
Yeah.
Hey, what killed the dinosaurs?
The
Ice Age.
Honestly, like, I know you lads don't like that film that much, but
What? Commando?
No, Batman and Robin.
Oh yeah.
But
I just see you.
There's no denying that he kills it with the one-liners in that.
Yeah. Oh, he went all out with that. He went.
Oh, he was so good. I love the film. I unironically love that film.
He's the only thing I like in that film.
I like Uma Thurman in that film.
I used to see you. Chill out.
He's so good. But before we get torn too much on Arnie, because we'll have enough of that next week, don't forget to like, share, follow, all that good stuff for us ourselves here. And obviously, as you seen a few weeks ago, we've as Sherlock rejoined us, he brought back his old show, but he's rebranded to the Retrotainment Reel. Yeah, he's rebranded to the Retrotainment Reel. So obviously continue to check that out. That'll be going up once. It'll be split over 2 episodes most of the time. So 2 episodes for the one show every month. And that'll be based. So every kind of 3 to 4 weeks, instead of getting this, you'll get the episodes for that. So don't forget to check that out. And then, of course, the lads over on the Slab for all your horror needs, where you get your interviews, film reviews, and sometimes that hasn't been done in a while, but a couple of top 10 lists and suggestions of things to watch. They hasn't been done in a while, but
they're threatening to come back, aren't they, Greg?
They're always they're always there.
There's
There's always things there, but yeah, don't forget to check the boys out there as always. And until next week, good luck.
Aye.